So what you want to talk about first? You want to talk about like our matches and stuff?
Yeah, we could talk about the matches and then we can get into the mindset.
All right.
Um, I'm not currently watching the matches now, but I kind of remember because I rotated with three characters and I
Yeah.
had so it's I understand the general of it. So I think I started off with
Yeah, you did.
and I think you have sort of the same problem in terms of uh, so I'm going to start off on matchup wise, like character versus
Mhm.
character wise.
Mhm.
So you have the same problem as sometimes as Alex, since because that matchup is bad for me, for like versus Axel and versus Faust.
Mhm.
Whereas in like I'll do you you let the player or me get in too easy, and what I mean by that is for if I have like dive, you probably I don't know if you're not reading it or you're probably not spacing yourself in a point to the point where you can like feel comfortable. All right, he's gonna probably dive here because there are some spaces where you are comfortable with
Mhm.
like of course full screen you're comfortable there, uh, and you're comfortable at far slash range. Close slash range is still kind of iffy for you, I can tell, because every that's when everything almost gets fuzzy because everything can be kind of quick. So if I do like horizontal criminal glove, it hits like it might either hit you or trade with 5K. You want the most out of 5K. So, but yeah, so I think yeah, you have to really punish when she tries to do uh something like dive. There'll be times I'll do like dive like almost full screen, and I usually don't do that as a player.
Yeah.
But I remember last time I played you, you did really well, and I watched Marlon Pie's his is really good now. And I noticed he'll take risk on characters that he has to take risk on, which makes sense.
Yeah.
Uh, but you got to keep that in mind 100%. The player, no matter how good the player is, they're gonna take extraordinarily crazy risks in bad matchups, no matter how good they are. And all so if you keep that in mind, you will get and practice your punishes on her very risky uh, moves, then you'll find way more success, and she'll have a real hard time with getting in.
Okay.
So yeah, so yeah, try to punish her moves. We're like I would say stroke the big tree. uh, Even though I'm good at using stroke the big tree in a matchup, because that was his name Malik.
Mhm.
Uh, Still just you want to get the juice best punishes. So yeah, best punishes out of the most riskiest moves she's trying to do against Faust to get in. Because if you can do that, you scare the so much to the point they're so scared to use that move. And if they do that move, you hurt them again.
Okay.
So I would say like stroke the victory and dive are like the two things. Any dive, whereas the horizontal dive or it's the vertical or diagonal dive. So yeah. Um, in terms, I'll get blocking, and stuff. It kind of matters for all three characters that I play, but because it's kind of a mindset thing. But so yeah, what do you feel that in that matchup that you weren't doing enough, or you feel like you what was different last time than when we played?
Mm, it's a little hard because a lot of the same things were kind of happening, just not at the same degree as before. Because
Right,
I think I mentioned this earlier. One of the things I'm trying to do is change the way I play versus people. Now that I've kind of noticed things that um, I would say most intermediate players do. It's
right,
just I haven't found a way to put that on completely in context for So in our matches, there was a lot of times where I was just kind of like being overly aggressive in my mind, and
okay,
I kind of feel like I don't necessarily have to be right. Because there is like stuff like preemptive 5K and stuff like that. But I sat there and thought about it after the matches. And I said, how much do I have to actually put myself out there to be countered in a
Yeah.
general sense before she gets to a certain range? And not really that much, but I was doing it anyway.
Yeah, and I will also say that you did start off. I could tell you had a different game plan when we first played and starting off because I was getting a lot of unnecessary hits with Eno. With usually, when you play Faust versus my probably any other you kind of make it at least kind of hard for her. But I was getting a lot of. It was like too easy for me, and that's when I was like, okay, wait. He's actually like trying to assess the situation. He's actually trying to like figure things out versus autopiloting the match.
Yeah.
So that was actually scary to me because even though I was hitting you, there'll be times where like you'll play very very patient, and I will be like kind of scared to like make a certain decision.
That makes sense. It's just like with Eno right now. It's like, okay, I got the patience, but what I'm starting to realize, and like a lot of this came from playing actually Will Soul a lot, that even if you have the patience, if you can't necessarily, how do I put this? If you have on a range, if your matchup plan has a range where parts of it are on the low risk and parts of it are medium risk, parts of it are high risk, you got to be able to maximize the low risk parts at all times. So you can't ever
Right.
let him slip in the bandit bringer ever. Like if you want your patience to act strategy to work, you have to be able to take care of all of that. Like when he comes in with the jump P to try to beat your anti-air, just run away from him. Like
Right.
constantly take the low risk and reward over and over again. And with Soul, it's a little easy because he's straightforward. He has a lot
Right.
of dynamic tools, but he can't really trick you with anything, unlike Eno.
Yeah. That's no. That's exactly.
So
That's exactly why is so frustrating to fight.
yeah, so it's like
Cause
yeah, she'll
yeah,
she'll actively punish you if you want to wait too long.
yeah,
So and then it's like okay, well, what is the to me, I'm starting to look at it as more as levels, not just switching strategy. So if the low risk thing is just kind of sit here and react, which I've started to notice that when I started playing people, even some people from here in the Southeast Discord and just random places, a lot of people just kind of fling themselves at you.
yeah,
And I looked at that, and at first I thought, yeah, no, that's just the game, that's how the game is. But then I was watching Bear stream, and then he was playing some player, I forget which one, and he was just like, "What are you doing?" The dude is just running around like a nutcase, because that's what Millie's supposed to do, right? He's quick. And he's like, "What are you doing? You're not really doing anything." And I sat there
right,
like, "Are you for?" And I sat down and I was playing a bunch of matches in my head, and then I went online, or actually I asked Will to play, and he's like, "Oh, yeah, I'm gonna bust out my secret character." So I'm like, "Oh, whatever, I don't care." So he plays Kai, and it was a little back and forth at first, and then he started beating my ass with this character he's been playing on the side. I'm like,
yeah,
I sat there and thought about it. I'm like, why is he beating my ass? Like, he clearly actually does not know how to play Kai, but he's just bowling me over. And I looked at it, and I thought back to Bear Stream where this Millie was just going nuts for no reason. Like the typical things intermediate players, they just kind of run at you. And what do they do when they get 50 meter, right? If they make you
yeah,
block something, they go into their most unsafe move to try to rack up blocks done and hit that RC. And I
yeah,
was like, that's exactly what he's doing. But I'm trying to play this game with him where I'm poking because, quote unquote, that's what you're supposed to do. With
right,
Faust, I got my forest, I got to keep him at bay. But he's not actually trying to play me on the ground. He's not actually interacting with me. He's jumping at me as much as he can. When he gets 50 meters, he's doing the stun dipper or whatever on my face. And but I'm trying to go back and forth with him, but I'm just getting hit by all of it. I sat there. And I beat him a couple times after that, I think, and then he beat me a couple times, and I was still thinking about it. I'm like, maybe it's just in my head. Maybe he was just reading my pokes or something. And then he picked Sin, and then that's when it all became clear because Sin is a character you can't really like more so than Soul. You can't trick anybody with Sin. Like you can't. You're not. There's no ambiguity with Sin. He's either like coming at you or he's
mhm,
sitting there, right?
Yeah.
So he started playing, and I think I beat him the first couple games, and then just like Kai, he starts beating my ass again. Except this time it's a lot more obvious that he's just kind of throwing himself at me. Like, he's throwing himself at me from the air. He's sliding in or RC, da 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 da. I'm like, what is this actually doing, right?
Yeah.
So in one match, I said I'm just gonna go back to the corner. I'm just gonna like literally backdash into the corner. And I'm just gonna wait and see if he's just like playing around me, if he's just throwing himself at me, whatever. So I throw myself in the corner, and I think I like one of the next. I think I was still kind of adjusting, but after a while, once I realized he's just kind of just jumping at me, just trying to, I guess, quote unquote, roll the dice, right? Like
Hmm.
that's how people play in Street Fighter Five, where for all the criticism people give Street Fighter Five versus this game, there's a lot of similar in that regards to how intermediate people play. Where it's
Yeah.
like if I jump in enough, eventually, I'm Soul. I get the bust half your life bar if I get in, yada yada. So I don't really have to care what your pokes are. I don't have to care if it is. So if I bandit bringer or if I stun dipper in, if I beat driver slide, if I, raven glide in, eventually I'm gonna get right where I want to be, and you know, that's it. I'm just gonna dust you. And I
Yeah.
sat there, and then I sat there in the corner, and I just anti-aired him, and then I poked him when he came at me, and I won like 5 or 6 games that way. Little effort, where I was sitting here in mid screen trying to like, okay, he's over there. Let me throw my far S. Okay, let me wait. Throw an item. Let me 2H this time, and let me wait for the anti-air. And I was just getting hit a bunch of stuff. But when I sat in the corner, the place where I literally was not supposed to be, the gaps became hundreds of times easier.
Hmm.
Because I realized and this is not just throw shade on Will, because I just was, after I played him, I played some other people, and I played some other people yesterday. I realized that most of the people in intermediate are the same. They don't have any particular game plan. They might know particular things about a match, like if Faust wants to drill, I know to go up and use this button, or if he wants to throw item, I know how to take. They're not incompetent. Is what I'm saying, but
Right.
they don't see the forest for the trees. So if I'm Raven, I don't have to worry about spacing out your far S or anything. I just glide because you get the enter air. Okay, you knock me down. I'll just throw my pin, RC, glide back in. Because eventually you're not gonna get this right. And then that's when it really really dawned on me that the vast majority of people who play this game, their strategies are contingent on the fact that you can't deal with something that you should be able to deal with.
Yes. This is the. All right, I don't want. I'm gonna cut you off for a quick second though. Or rant for a little bit. That's exactly why I don't like. How can I put this? I'm not a big fan of how Eno is in this game because it pretty much shows that pretty like I don't know how to
Nah,
put it.
I can see that.
I don't know how to put it, but it kind of like it doesn't really teach you the things that it's like all right, here's your car keys to ride the mix up train. Once you learn how to do that, and you're good to go. It's not like you actually go in the lab and learn or players and actually learn things like not just setups. It's l- having the experience, actually taking the experience and evolving it into something where like you can continuously evolve it. It's not something where all right, you get to a point and it's a strong point and it's no, you have to continuously evolve that. So that's why like when you watch Japanese players, uh, they might have a certain setup that you do, right? But but then you'll see them go into offense again after they got like a knockdown or whatever or something. I'm just using this as an example. It'll be something totally different or something you probably never thought of. And it's probably not something that they thought of before. Maybe it's something they came up with on the spot.
Hmm.
But but that's the point. Like because their opponent reacted a certain way, they reacted to that certain situation on the spot, and they were they you know they were ready for to do that stuff. So yeah,
Yeah, I feel you because like yeah, there are characters that actually facilitate that. Like Eno's one of them, Millia's
yeah,
another one. Like even when Millie
really is one.
is good or bad, she has that aspect to her where she can put you in scary situations without really knowing how to really put you there, quote unquote. Because like I was watching Jonio stream this morning, and you got your boy FAB on there, and he plays a character where if you don't do these things, the character literally can't function. So like if you can't sit down and gauge your opponent's reactions and do all that, you like Pot literally can't function without that. And so you start to see that, and then like when other players come on, you'd actually see a lot of people who kind of have that same mindset of kind of flying in there. Then you see like the people with usually the known names that there's a lot of behind their aggression. Even when you have the wild players, you can see the little subtle places where they wait, where they gauge and stuff like that. So now that I've noticed that, I realize that a lot of this stuff isn't as scary as I thought it was. That was part of my Twitter post where I was like, so I sat down because I was thinking back on my matches with Will, because Will usually beats the shit out of me. He's actually a pretty good player. And I sat there and I thought about Soul. What does Soul actually do to you, right? So I'll even just put it in context of Faust, since there's a bit of the character specific parts to it. I'm sitting here, round start. Let's say I just back away from him. What does he have to do at this point? So if
he can. Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh no, you can go. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
He can try to run forward to kind of, because he noticed that you lost. This is just my mindset. He can try to run forward because he's noticed that you lost space. So he's going to try to take advantage of that, or he could either, I guess, use that time to not really do anything, because now you're at a better range and he's not. The best thing he could do is sort of move forward.
Okay,
but he has to be patient about it, I guess.
I like that answer. In my mind, the answer is whatever the fuck he wants to do. Because at that point, the burden's on me to beat it or to react to it. If he wants to run, if he wants to abandon, bring it, if he wants to do the off the wall kick, I keep forgetting what it's called, riot stomp, right? If he wants to do the dive kick, if he wants to dash back to that screen and throw a bunch of gun flames, he can do that shit too. Whatever the fuck he wants. And that's when I thought about it. So he can do whatever the fuck he wants, but what do I actually care about? So if I wait there and he moves at me in an aggressive way, such as IEDs, if he tries to Fafnir at me, I can just space him out, knock him back to the screen. I don't get a huge reward for it, but he has to keep doing it over and over again.
Yeah.
But if I sit there and I try to poke and do all this stuff while he's doing that, I'm just gonna get hit by it, and I'm gonna hit him sometimes. Sure, I'm gonna get my Faris item sometimes. Ooh, but when he's right, what happens? Well, I'm tumbling my ass into the corner, losing half my life, and now he's standing on top of me. And I sat there like, why do I have to play this game? He's not. Even though this is what quote unquote Faust is supposed to do, and I realized something. Usually, before Soul gets to that point, if he wants to get to that point, he has to convince you to press the fucking button first.
Yeah.
And I realized that a lot of these people don't convince me to press the buttons first. I do it out of some kind of duty as a Faust player. And so I'm getting hit by Fafnirs and, Raven Glides and all that shit. Because I'm trying to slap buttons, because Faust is supposed to keep people out. And I'm getting hit by a whole bunch of shit. And then that's kind of goes back to that revelation where I sat in the corner and just beat Sin. Just by sitting in the corner. Even though this is a character that has strong neutral tools, I realized, you know why I can sit in this corner? Because he's not making me push my buttons. If he makes me push my buttons, I can't space myself out back and forth. I can't, jump out. I'm literally in the worst position you could be. But why is it that I'm winning? He's not making me go to my default game plan and defeating my default game plan. He's trying to defeat my default game plan out of the gate before he even sees it. When I say he, I'm not specifically talking about any player.
No, yeah.
They're trying to defeat my game plan before I even present it. And so, as I started playing more and more people online, I'm just kind of sitting here, when you were talking about your matches, with Eno it was a little harder, but you probably noticed that it was a little harder to beat me with your Johnny than it was Eno.
Yeah.
No, go ahead.
Well, go ahead.
I was just because the same logic, because me and you are both intermediate players, we still following this pattern. And I was like, okay, here he comes. He's gonna, he's gonna YYRC at me. He's gonna
Yep.
jump at me with jump H, and he's gonna go in there. He's gonna misfire in there. He's gonna try to beat my anti-airs before I do it, cause the expectation is I'm gonna go up there try to slap a 6-8, a 5K, and then there's even that picture post on Twitter, which is a prime example of that. Like enough of these jump ins, eventually one of them's gonna work, and I'm Johnny.
Yep.
But if I sit there, I'm like, okay, if he's trying to beat my jump ins by jumping high in the air, why not just run under him? And then it's like I start realizing if they can't beat me off of my low risk tactics, like sure, anti-airs are nice, they get me something, but if I just say fuck it, I'm gonna move out of the way, and I'm never gonna let you land on me. And if you ever do something punishable, I'm gonna punish it if I see it. What
I'm
is?
glad you brought up the Johnny match
Go ahead. Floor is
because if
yours.
you notice, that was the closest set we had between like out of the Eno and the uh Heyman match. And the reason why is because I had the same thought process. So before I played you, I think either the day before or that same day, I played Kent and Alex in
Mm-hmm.
like a couple of games, well, a lot of games. Um, and I ended up running the room with Johnny. And now, mind you, every time I play Kent with my Johnny, he always beats me,
Mm-hmm.
like just straight up destroys me. And it's been a thing for like ever since he's picked. He would always beat me, and I remember at one point he got tired of like Corey and me because Cyclone I guess would beat him. And he got frustrated. He made a tweet about it or whatever, and then me and Corey was like, oh. But anyway,
Mm-hmm.
I kind of knew deep down inside, yeah, like I see where that frustration is coming from because now another Johnny's beating him, and that Johnny's playing a different way. So I knew that was a thing. I was like, all right, he's playing a different way. It's not uh, Cyclone's fault or Kent's fault. It's my fault. So so after I watched Omito win the Japan Arc Tour or whatever, I started. I just needed to watch the grand finals or whatever, or just watch Omito play, and I really just wanted to like hone in what Omito does. Not like when he does anything, basically, like you said, like anything. Instead of because I think what people do when they watch strong players, they focus on specific situations.
Mm-hmm.
This time I approach watching Omito in every situation.
Okay.
So and I learned two things. One, he FDs because Johnny and he gets but FD is really good. Then people give credit for like yeah, FD could be bad and it puts you in block stun. But FD is an actual mechanic that I was scared to use at first, but now I understand the why it's so good because the pushback and allows for the chance of neutral gets higher. But the biggest thing I learned is from Omito is exactly what you just said. Uh, when he didn't want to commit, I mean, like when he didn't have to commit when he didn't want to, and that left it up to the player. So that's why, like, if you ever see Johnny players in America, they get the prime position, like intermediate Johnny players. They'll get in a prime position, like say for instance, Zweihander in the corner, and now like they're about to go unblockable setup, and they go for the unblockable, right?
Okay.
Hello.
Yeah, I'm still listening. That's all right.
Yeah, yeah. I'm sorry. They go for the unblockable. So now the other opponent reacts. He either does the dead angle setup where it's like they block and they dead angle to get the invul, whatever, or they do blitz, or they do whatever, super, whatever. That's the point. The fact that he did something, they reacted to that situation with the prime, whatever options they have, whatever. So I noticed Omito, he would, whenever he get in his situations, he didn't commit too much. It's not really committing, not committing. It's under just seeing what the opponent wants to do and let him know, hey, if you try something funny, I can actually react to it now because now I can see, like, now I'm in my prime position, and I took that and I noticed that in neutral. I just like, or from the beginning of the game, they'll say round start, and I'll just block sometimes. I'll just down back just to see what they're gonna do. Not move, not even just down back. And I will like, and I think I can't remember who it was, but Marty or somebody. They said there's nothing a player can do where like as long as there's another player on the sticks or the controller, you're gonna always have information that they give you.
Makes sense.
So I thought about that, and it sounds so simple, right? Like it sounds so, it's like yeah, player versus player. But then I really thought about it, I was like, huh. And I thought about it like Omito's perspective, like how because he's the only Johnny at that level. Why is he the only Johnny at that level that's doing that good? Well, it's because yeah, Johnny is strong and everything, but you have to show why the character is strong.
Yeah.
You as a player have to buff the character within, like, as weird as that sounds. This is why low tier characters do good in fighting games.
Yeah.
Or because the player themselves buff that character. Yeah, that character have weaknesses that people know about, but you can't expose it if the player's not going to expose it. They can't react to it if the player's not going to show, hey, look, I have this option, I'm giving it to you, blah 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 blah. So they're not going to put themselves in the position where their weak character is weakened, and that's when things for the other player get fishy because they're like, oh wait, I don't know how to deal with this. I've never deal with this before, and this happens a lot in tournaments with a lot of intermediate players. So anyway, back to my point. Yeah, so I ended up like destroying a lot of games, and I was surprised. But and then I was like, and then it got quiet and everything. So then that's why when I played you, I took the same approach. I was like, all right, you start ever since when I do play against you with my Johnny, you actually do way better against my Johnny than my because it's hard to do with blah blah blah. But given the nature of Johnny, it's like I know what Johnny could do and you know what Johnny could do, and I will always commit to those powerful situations that I'm in to try to basically force the win, right?
Yeah.
I'm in my winning situation now. I should force the win. No. It doesn't work like that. And that's when I started. That's why when I played you, I was like, okay. I took that approach that I took with Kent, and those matches were really good. Yeah, it got stopped because we're not the best on our confirms and stuff.
Yeah.
But that out of all the three characters that I use and the matches that we had, that was my favorite match. And that's why it was so close. Like when I went up 2 games, and you got the first game, because we were going to 3, right? Yeah. When I went up 2 games, you got the third game, for some weird reason, I wanted to stop you, right? Me being your opponent, but I knew you were gonna get a second game because I was like, he's gonna actually assess the situation and adapt because now he knows what I can do, so I have to try to adapt, and that's where those games were so close. So
It's because it's funny you mentioned Omito because I think he's actually defined by what he doesn't do, by what more so than what he does. Because I noticed that this is a frustration threshold, and the Dogi Sandwich in the chat there. Yeah, I don't know if this is the new podcast. We just talking, but so there was a times you generally play patient, but if I held the ground long enough, eventually I know that if you were sitting on 25 meter. I was gonna see the good old Y-handed YRC.
Yep.
And I sat there, and like you mentioned, Omito typically doesn't do stuff like that, right?
No, he does. Oh no.
and then you also have the thing intermediate Johnny players do too, where you get your level 3 misfinder, and then you see me jump, and you just let it loose because you want to try to get that payout right away. But that's another thing Omito never does. If he gets his level 3, he's gonna keep you in perpetual block stun. He's gonna do that. He's gonna put his short back. He's gonna look at you. Okay, I got all this block stun to gauge what you're gonna do. Okay, did he jump? Did he dash at me? Did he sit there? Okay, he's gonna sit there. I'm gonna do it again. Okay, he's still sitting there. He don't want to challenge this. Next time I cancel, dashes in your face throw. But he will sit there as long as it takes abusing that misfinder cancel. And that's something that I do not see intermediate Johnnies do. Eventually they get frustrated and they try to force their way in, or they say, okay, you know what, miss final, red RC. So you just threw away those 2 coin levels to make me sit in block stun? when you
Yeah.
could have literally did the same thing for free. And then that's again, that's a lot of the same thing here, right? It's the same logic behind the souls that go da 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 gunflame red RC. I mean, you could have just said far S 2S. You still could have been safe. You still could have gauged the situation, but you didn't have to spend 50 meter and kill your tension pulse or any potential damage you got for if you did get a confirm. Same thing
Yep.
with Kai, right? Far S, far S 5H, far S 2S, or just far S, and look at them. You don't have to go far S, 2H, or 3H, stun dipper, red RC. Okay, now plus head tricked you, but a lot of people do that.
Yep.
And so it's like, and I'm the same way. So I'm like,
No, I get. I get. Oh God. Yeah, I get it.
yeah, it's like, and that's
um.
that's the one thing I'm starting to notice that me and other intermediate players do. We're just like, if I had to boil it down to a concept, it would be we don't know how to let the opponent have their turn when they've earned their turn. And in 2D fighters, it's a lot less clear when it's your turn or when it's your opponent's turn because there's a lot of ambiguity going on. Because in 3D fighters, it's pretty simple, right?
Yeah.
In 3D fighters, moves typically are just negative on block generally. So when somebody kicks you and they didn't hit you, it's like, okay, fuck it, I'm swinging next. Unless they have some special mechanic, if they want to swing after, they're gonna get hit. There's no real, hey, I'm gonna try to steal my turn back in those games, unless the advantage is just really low, or character has some kind of special parry mechanic or something. But generally, if I block something, I can't swing again unless I'm just really willing to get fucked up. In 3D games, especially Guilty Gear, the
Mhm.
same thing is true, except it's hidden behind a bunch of layers. So you have you have your
Yeah.
FDs, you have your instant blocks, you have all your special character mechanics, you have double jumps, all that stuff, and it looks so fancy. But at the end of the day, the game still works in turns. So when I do all my pressure, there's a reason why people go into whatever, I'll just call it whatever special move red RC, right? Because they
Yep.
know their turn is fucking over once they do it. Once you go into Digitalis, you're negative, 13 or something. Not only is your turn over, but you're up for punishment. And so, like, okay, let me turn that into plus frames and keep going. And then again, people, even when they don't have meter, they do that same concept where they try to IED it back to over again. It's like, oh, okay, I hope they don't know how to anti-air and stuff like that. And I was like, or what's wrong with just, again, with say Kai, Forest, 2S, and just look at them. You get the exact same thing that you got chasing with all that meter, except you keep your meter, you keep your positioning, and if you do get a hit, you have 50 meter to just fuck them up, or 50 meter to use an actual utility.
That's It's funny that you mentioned turns because there was. I wanted to tell Hong this, but there's like three people I know that understand like decision making and like turns and when things go back and forth real quickly and let somebody know right now it's my turn. And when it's Hong, Lasso, and Omito. There'll be times and whenever you see them at the highest level of play, there'll be times where they will like blitz when they're on offense. Not a lot, not a lot of people would play. Not even a lot of intermediate players do that. The only time you might see blitz on offense is just somebody trolling, right?
Yeah,
But at the highest level, they're not trolling. They're doing that for a reason.
yeah, because they realize
Most
their
people,
turn is over, right?
yeah, most people they only use stuff like blitz and I'm actually going to try to implement this because I was thinking of this earlier today using reflect on offense and DBFZ. But anyway, yeah, blitz because they understand when their turn is still their turn or they can take it back like that. And the other opponent's probably like, wow, you do that right there, blah, blah, blah. But Hong, I remember when I asked him, it was cool that you blitzed, what was his name, Kizzy at
Mm.
Red Bull. And he told me why he did it. He was like, well, I noticed when Kizzy, there would be a situation where I'll swing and he thinks it's his turn basically. And he's like, I'm actually not as negative as he thinks, basically. That was the situation.
Okay, makes sense. I mean, because
So I responded with a blitz.
so that kind of follows the line what I was saying with 3D fighters, right? Because typically your block is your turn, and then turn stealers are usually characters that have a parry mechanic, like
Yep.
Asuka or something like that. Like, yeah, I'm not supposed to swing here. I'm negative, but fuck you. I got a move that says if you do a button. That's essentially what Blitz is.
Yeah.
Is because it was Kizzy's turn, and he said he used Blitz to steal it back. What usually tries to happen is people will chase a turn down to the bitter end, chase it down to hell, no matter what it takes, or they'll try to take it unfairly. Like, okay, da 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 da. Okay, I'm gonna do my sweep here. They're not gonna see this coming, even though I'm at disadvantage. And then intermediate play again. What usually happens is people don't punish that. They don't take their turn. So that's the other
Yeah.
aspect to it. And so if you're not able to take your turns, then yeah, it is actually valid for me to keep taking my turn over and over again if you're just looking at me like a deer in headlights. But in high level play, like you mentioned, Kizzy knew that okay, this is my turn. I can swing here, and Hong knew, well, it is his turn. He can swing here. Here's a blitz.
Yeah.
So
And
oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say like it's to kind of go back on your point and like how it's like kind of disguised in 2D fighters because it's the whole offensive thing in 2D fighters, like you said, like frame advantage and stuff like that. But one thing I'm starting to notice is DBZ is a basic game, and people what do people complain about the most in that game? Of course, Super Dash, but it's mostly RPS. The fact that their opponent they keep getting put in a situation where they got to read their opponent, read their opponent, read their opponent. You know what's funny? That's still the same thing. Whenever you talk to Hong, he talks about RPS more than like anybody in like when it comes to gear. You'll be surprised. Wait, why is he saying RPS? He plays Jacko. All he's got to do is just throw goons on me. Blah blah blah.
Oh
No,
man.
he like I've sat down with him and I at first I didn't understand it, but now like we're having this conversation, now I understand why he talks about RPS. It's because even when he's on offense, he still recognizes what all you can do on defense. So he's not gonna do the brain dead offense. He's gonna basically play. He's playing the play. He's still playing and understanding what your character can do in defense and what you can do mechanically. So it's just like what you said. Uh, it's the same thing going on as in like 3D fighters and 2D fighters, but it's disguised. So like when somebody is getting overwhelmed by like Jacko or whatever, he's still recognizing that you could do these things on defense. Like there's a reason why he like you've played Hong before.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you're like there will be times where it's like I'm gonna burst here. He's not gonna see it coming. He still blocks it or something.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna delay my dead and go to the very. He's not gonna see. He still like blocks it or jumps over or whatever. Then you're like, man, is he like constantly reading this? It's just, he's not really. He's constantly reading it. He is, but it's him knowing his options and seeing what you can do with yours. So he'll tell you straight up, no, I wasn't really reading this. My character can do this. Like, oh, my character is burst safe here. So it's like, and it happens time and time again. I'll see people, they'll get put in a situation and try to get out or something like that. And now at this point, I'm like, I know why that happened because they're not either rotating their options more, like adding more to the to the roulette of RPS and rotating it more. They're probably using like 2 or 3 options, and that's why Hong would really get you. Or they're just like brain dead, like, or they just, oh, she's on me, I can't do anything. I'm just gonna try to get out using this. Oh, this sucks.
Yeah.
So understanding your RPS options is parallel to understanding the player, and that's one thing that I'm starting to understand by a lot more in the past week.
Yeah.
Because I've been playing so much DBZ, that game has so much RPS. It's not even funny.
I had this conversation with Will when we were talking about our matches after one set, and he goes, "Man, I don't really like these scramble situations or something like this. It just feels like RPS." And I said, "You know what, Will? I'm gonna tell you a secret. Every fighting game at every point of the time until the round is over is RPS.
Yep.
Because when I'm on the middle of the screen, I gotta choose between moving, pressing a button, or waiting. And people go, because people don't realize what a reaction is in a fighting game. A reaction is a reward for you choosing to wait. That means you chose the wait option in the RPS game. Wait for them to do something that can be punished, and you reacted to the punish. Because if I say you were playing, I don't know, say you're playing Mei, right?
Hmm.
So I can sit here and say you ID at me. Well, if I'm just sitting here, what can I do? I can anti-air you, I can air throw you, I can run under you and put a button in my place, whatever. There's a whole bunch of things to do because I waited and I saw what you did. But let's say in that same situation, instead of choosing to wait, I press far S because I thought you were gonna run at me, but you didn't run at me. And while my button's retracting, I see this little pirate girl flying in my face. I can't react to that because I didn't choose to wait. Everything's a RPS. It's just the amount of choices you have boils down more and more when you get to closer situations. So when I knock someone down in a fighting game, typically they don't have that many options. Their RPS is pretty set in stone. Whether am I gonna block? Am I gonna try to swing off my back? Am I gonna jump? It's not a whole lot. Their whole move set is become restricted. And so that's when people look at it. Oh, it's RPS because that's obvious RPS. Because because it's a left right guess, it's a high low guess, it's a strike throw guess. It's obvious.
Hey, are you guys playing?
No, we're just talking and we're on stream.
Oh, okay. I would like to ask a question about Dragon Ball Z to you, Casey.
Go ahead.
But I would like to talk to you about it in the other channel because a lot of people are asking.
Okay.
So you want to wrap up here, or you just want to keep chatting?
We're about to end. I guess we can end it soon.
Okay. Yeah, actually, since you
Because
brought
I feel
up,
like you're getting to like a point to
yeah,
end.
yeah. Actually,
Well, I'll leave y'all.
all right, later. Actually, I actually want to talk about DBZ because I think it's the perfect example. Because what is the big thing people complain about in that game at the moment, right?
So
I don't
as
have
I was
go ahead.
driving home from the gym today, I noticed that the game has very base movement. What I mean by that is a ground level move. Like every character has the same sort of sense movement. I guess the only character you can kind of take out of that equation is like Zamasu, but he can still, at the very like base level, if you was to like hold forward with him, he'll walk forward, right?
Yeah.
Other games are not like that. Marvel wasn't like that. Gear isn't like that. You still have like I was thinking of characters like Potemkin, and Marvel. I was thinking of characters like Hashinko or whatever.
Makes
So I was
sense.
like, all right. Oh, sorry. Yeah. So I was like, dang. So, all right. I understand that's the simple part, and that's what people don't like about it. But I think that's actually like the gift. It's like the curse, I guess, for some people, but it's a gift for others who like I guess don't notice that, but they tolerate it. Because now you have the same option as the next character, and it may not they might have different buttons, so certain situations may be more pronounced when they go for their attack, whatever. But at like very base ground level, you all have a super dash, you all have a back dash, air dash. There's like only like I said, Zamasu is probably like the only character I can think of that kind of like you could kind of take him out of that equation.
Yeah.
But I think but that's why when I play that game, I'm super comfortable even when I'm blocking. It's because it's like there's only so much the players can do with their characters, and it can get crazy. But I think that's kind of like the same concept I have like with Marvel at the time, because it's only so much the players can do with the characters. But DBZ is like much more tamed in that aspect. So and that leads to like a lot of RPS situations, right? Not every character has like the same base thing, and now it's I know you can do this, I know I can do this, whatever. But I guess what I'm trying to say is that's kind of like why I guess for me why I like fighting games, because yeah, I can do my cool shit with my character and all of that. I play different teams, I can do all this cool setups and stuff. But at the end of the day, I gotta get the hit, right?
Yeah. You do.
Now, how did I get that to hit? I gotta like maybe super dash at you. Whoa, super dash. Crap. Well, he wasn't looking out for it because he was in the air. So I decided to super dash on him. Or whatever. Or I decided to take some crazy gamble, whatever. Now I got the hit. It's just in different games are like that.
Not
But what I'm
yet.
trying to say is, what's up? We're at the end this quick chat real quick.
Yeah, that's it.
Well, I came in to say that I fucking hate this patch.
Okay.
It's so fucking bad. It's literally like I literally ran into like 10 goat things in Yamcha, like teams. I swear to fucking God.
Yo, dude,
Like,
I run
oh
into
my
look,
God.
just real quick. I run into Go Tanks all the time. It's I don't like it's so.
But it's
They
fucking
can only.
worse.
It's not
It's worse. It's actually that fucking bad. Dude, I don't know. This is fucking worse than selling Kid Buu.
bad. Okay, but
This is
yo,
actually fucking terrible.
EX Power. We are
This is
having
actually
like
fucking terrible.
we're having like a
Okay,
small
that's
chat real quick. You're probably like the highlight that just happened for a lot of people listening. They're probably having a ball.
Wait.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
We're in a
Oh,
stream
shit.
right now. And we're
Oh, do you want to
chatting.
stream? Oh shit.
Yeah,
Okay.
Sorry.
Oh, damn.
Sorry. I'll talk to you later, dude.
All right. Oh yeah. I'm gonna leave. Sorry.
no problem, man. Man,
But yeah, just to end it off, it's every game is going to have their RPS situation. Everything is going to, and some games it's more pronounced than others. Sometimes it's really hard to deal with. Like you have characters like it's so disguised. But if you don't put yourself in those situations, and you don't make it easier for the opponent, and you just by sometimes like like my friends argued about one point. I thought moving around and always doing something would get people to beat people, but sometimes just not doing nothing beats people.
yeah,
And that's an RPS situation you can do.
that is
So, and I was wrong in that aspect. So when they told me that, so yeah, like it can be frustrating, especially when you're playing multiple games. That's another thing. When you're playing multiple games, because you're getting so much juice out of like the situation you're getting in this game, but then when you play the next game, it doesn't feel the same. So that's why, but that's a whole nother.
Yeah, it's like that's a whole other topic that could go on all night. Yeah, because like the other aspect is that it can actually teach you how to discover and find situations really quickly the more games you play. But yeah, we'll go ahead and wrap it up. So I appreciate you chatting it out, going
Thanks.
back and forth.
For having me. If this was like this is the first part, no, it's not the first part. It's not. We just were streaming. We wanted to go over our matches that we were going. So.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I'll let you get to your DBZ Guru duties.
Okay.
All right. Take it easy and peace out, stream.
Peace.